it still can penetrate, but it's just going to be a little bit rougher. T-70 by way up to Vet 2. Actually, very lucky. Knocks out its main weapon. Hello everyone, this is Greyshot17 bringing you another COH2 replay. This is a 2v2 on, oh god, what's it, Fields of Wenenduk? Yeah, Wekenduk. I'm butchering that name. Fields of blank. Anyway, we have, oh boy, I can't pronounce his name, so we're going to look it up. Let's see what it is. Chinaman. Oh god. It kind of reminds me of, what's that game called? I forget it. Anyway, Hanslinger, Slow Motion, and White Hot D. I'll just call him Purple. That way I'm not screaming Chinaman, because that would probably go down very badly. Any case, to meet your replays, greyshotproductions.com. I'll take a look at them. I get a lot, but I will still try to, you know, keep a different party, a different group. That way it's not the same person every single week. And this week, who do we got that submitted this? I'll tell you at the end. Also, if you want to support my channel, hit that like, subscribe button. Definitely helps out a ton. If you want to do something further, there's links down below for my Discord, Patreon, all that stuff. So there we go. Slow Motion, what'd you go? Advanced Warfare. Interesting. So you'll be able to identify what the OKW is going. So both OKW players, again, they have... The Germans most likely realize, okay, so we don't have to worry about caches, we don't have to worry about Panzergrenadiers. They're like, there's certain things you don't have to worry about because, again, you don't have to worry about the Wehrmacht. But with the OKW, you also have to worry about, you know, mechanized units in term, or like their mechanized unit area with the Lukes, the Puma, that stuff, the Stuka specifically, the Panzer headquarters. Like, especially if you're doubling up on that, that could be some serious bad news, especially if you're going heavier German infantry compared to what the Soviets have. Penals. I mean, they do have shock troops here, but we'll see how things turn out. Penals, by the way, get in this building. Stern Pioneers trying to put in some pressure on, but they have to be very cautious because, again, heavy cover unit in a building. What do? Well, you just bring in your posse. You bring in multiple units coming from the side and just overwhelm them. And you put your Stern Pioneers in heavy cover, so they just shred them. Now, there's only two guys fighting the Sturms, so honestly, Sturms should win this fight even without them. But with these Volk squads coming on in here, that's two additional squad members firing at them, plus all this entire penal group. Yeah, they should win this. I would say the Volk squad should win this, especially from the Sturms. Now, unfortunately, I think the Sturms aren't at maximum efficiency because they're not as close as they could be. But still, I think they're doing rather well. Incendiary pushed them back. They'll probably be more effective against the guy in the building. I think he's like, I got this. Nice idea to hit the penal group because that's a big focus you want to push them back on. That unit's also now retreating. Might get another member or two. Possibly. No, just one member, I assume. But you push back his forces. He's going for pure penals, while Slow Motion's going more conscript build. With an MG, support equipment, you get the basics. He put it up really close, so I guess you can deploy it faster. Sure, why not? Anyway, the German, oh, yep, there it goes. More Volk squads across the line, same thing with Hans, pretty much the same starting build, but it's working. They got a huge portion of the territory, though a lot of the units are weaker. They'll have to reinforce. Volk squad's pushing back the engineer squad, though he's moving the cover by the plane to kind of push him back and try to hold the line. But yeah, additional Volk squads, again, really good cover position against the conscripts. MG, though, is going to help suppress and push them back, though I think those Volk squads would have won that fight if the MG didn't come into play, and the mortar. So with that combo, again, why support equipment is so good, because you can, in a straight up fight, yeah, those Volk squads would have probably won because of the cover bonus, but with this support equipment, you remove the cover, you suppress them, you're all good. Something just blew up over here. I'm not entirely sure what. I think they threw a satchel somewhere. I'm not seeing too many kills. Any unit died? No, I don't see any units that died. So, and because they're almost exact same manpower, I'm just looking. I'm like, yeah, I think neither of them really lost anything, although I could be wrong on that. Mortar's now coming down on the Volk squad, so Purple, he's worried about that. They did grab both fuels. They have both munitions. So right now, the Axis did a really good opener. They played their infantry very well in cover. They pushed back the penals and the conscripts. The engineers with actually good mine placement. I think that was a Stern Pioneer mine by the resources, yes. So right now, if they can continue to hold that, that's great. But it looks like the Soviet player, realizing the situation, Slow Motion's like, nah, I'm not letting you keep those resources, and does a very good thing. It goes for the cutoff. So right now we can see here, the resources on this map are cut off. This is why this point over here, and I believe it is this point right here, is so imperative. I want to say it's that point, because, oh, no, I'm sorry. I think it's this point. because essentially you take that, you can decap the resources coming on in. Same thing over here. If they cap this, which they are, they're going to cut off the fuel here. So this map is really good for having those nice little points that if the enemy is getting an abundance of resources, you don't have to capture all of them. You can just capture a lot of those key points and make sure the enemy stops you in its tracks. The resource flow. Nice mine placement as well. At least you're placing mines to stop them. Most of their squads are all grouped up now. He doesn't have MG34 because he got the mechanized group. So maybe a Stuka, I would say... I mean, he could go for a Panzer too, but if he would have... Oh, there he goes. I was going to say, if he would have done that, he would have immediately done it, but I guess he was just a little slow to draw. Conscripts over here taking the point. MG suppressing the two Volk squads, once again kind of grouped up next to each other. Mortars coming on this other Volk squad, which is coming on the flank of the MG. Sturm Pioneers as well. Not really much supporting it. The conscripts and flamethrower units are on the left. Again, very forward placed MG. You need to make sure you have something with it. He's being overwhelmed. Gonna take him out. Nice mine placement once again by the Germans. Stops the engineers in their... the engineers in their tracks. And brings them down to 2 models. Meanwhile, looks like Purple's having a little better luck. He did lose some men. And it looks like the Penals are advancing, but if he gets the Sturms in the building, he should be able to overwhelm this unit. I don't know if he will in time, but he also can make them throw a satchel inside. Yeah, I was going to say, there's a door, and I think the door's in the back, so there we go. Unfortunately, that would have been a perfect time when the Penals were really close. Now he just walked off, so it's like, oof, I guess we'll have to try something else. But at the very least, they got a little more time with the resources before taking away. And with this, that's going to allow the ally... Oh, satchel. He's going to walk on it. I think he might just barely... Yep, he barely gets out of there, and the Penals have to retreat. Additional Volk squads coming on in to reinforce with an MG34 blocking this main area so they can't just walk in, which I think that's exactly what they're going to do. He's not set up, though. You can see he's still holding the MG, so he's not set up. And again, luckily Slow Motion can carry on with and tell White Hot D, hey, I have radio. I can tell you right now the enemy just deployed this Panzer II, so you might want to watch out. To be fair, I think the Panzer II maybe shot... Nope, they didn't shoot conscripts yet, so there's that. Slow Motion, by the way, upgraded some of his men with PPSHs for close range. By the way, if you hear that, it's currently storming outside, and if my voice sounds a little bit off, I have a small... okay, small. I was literally coughing along yesterday, but a bit of a cold, so there's that. No, I don't have COVID, for those who ask. Or, like, oh my god, because immediately if I say I'm sick, someone's gonna be like, it's this! No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. For those who are suffering from it, hopefully you get plenty of rest, hopefully you make a speedy recovery, and hopefully nothing too bad happens. Because I know a lot of people around the world are currently facing it, and hopefully you're doing well yourself along with your family and friends. So, but, yeah. Now I have a cold, and every time someone hears me cough or something, or hears me blow my nose, so it's like, oh, get away! It's like, okay, first off, don't have it, confirmed, but secondly, it's fine. Anyway, Panzer II, in the meantime, while I'm talking about all that, pushes back the infantry. AT gun is being developed by Slow Motion, so he's deploying that. Though I think if he noticed that it was being out, maybe he should deploy a little sooner. But I think he got AT grenades. No, he did not get AT grenades. He should have gotten AT grenades as well. Shock troops get pushed back by the MG, which I think they got hit with the mine, which is quite hilarious. So nice use there. Let's see. Volk squad's taking over the area. What is Hans going? He got a half-track. Okay. Also pushing back the conscripts. The light armor is working really well. German forces capturing back the map across. They do have to worry about some mines. Again, we saw both the Soviets and the Germans placing mines, but it seems like the Germans with the minesweepers have been a little bit more proactive in placing mines and a bit more effective. I've seen a lot more Soviets exploding than I have seen OKW units exploding. So they're going to move in, though, for that capture point because, of course, they will to cut off those resources and, you know, not waste time trying to just cut off the normal resources. They're like, yeah, we'll just take that. Although, theoretically, if they take this, it would kind of be the same idea, because then the enemy wouldn't get the fuel, but I think they're just like, no, you don't get the fuel and you don't get this point. Which makes more sense. Panzer II coming over to deal with the Engineer Squad. I'm really curious why that Sturm Pioneer Squad doesn't, like, stop him, because now the Sturm Pioneer Squad has to stay on that point for a little longer, unless that's the point. He's moving away from this. I don't understand why. Oh, maybe he's going for the penal troops. He had to go around. But, yeah, he's going to fight them and push them back. Really good. Meanwhile, Volk squads and Sturms coming on in. MG's going to suppress. cause some damage right there. Mortars coming on in, does a little bit of health damage. But again, good use of support equipment and conscripts right there to help come in as support. Where's your MG? Oh, it's back over this point, so you should be fine. They're retaking the fuel, though. The Germans are reconnecting the territory, but they've routinely had the fuel advantage. Now we have a T-70 on the field. We'll see how effective that is. White.D also has a T-70, so we have a nice T-70 rush there. Panzer II needs to worry a little bit because the OKW, from what I can see, doesn't have a Verkehrwerfer. So the Panzer... Oh, nice explosion. Actually hit the OKW's own mine. I want to say hit the OKW's own mine. Anyway, the good thing about it is the 270 should beat the Panzer II in a direct fight, but 2 against 1, the Lukes might have a different say in that regard. Shock troops moving on in. If they can micro some smoke real quick. Too late. He's already suppressed. That would help. Maybe just keep the penals back to keep putting pressure. T-70 as well can come in, but the Volk squads are now pouring on in. Again, not really long range. Again, Lukes might have to come in to pop some shots. Same thing with the half-track, or, you know, I guess we need to have the half-track come in here that support. Like, yeah, 2 of these things would work, but I don't think he wants to go up a whole nother building to do so. Speaking of which, Purple's getting a Panzer headquarters building. Hans is getting a Panzer headquarters building down. So they're actually kind of being very, very similar in their tactics. Mostly, you know, medical, but it's still very, very good. The Soviets are definitely copying more of the armor department, but we'll see how effective that is. A nice job, by the way, getting close. MG and everything, supporting the conscripts, pushing on in, gets the kill. And an MG-34 down in Soviet hands. Meanwhile, it looks like this T-70 needs some repairs, but it's good to go. Launching back out. Now, this gentleman does have multiple Volk squads he's about to walk into, and plenty of resources. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't. Sorry, that's Purple. He only has 1 Panzerfaust. Verkehrwerfer's coming on in, but it's going to be a few seconds before is able to hit target. The T-70, as long as he keeps backing up, should be relatively fine, especially if they have a line of support equipment on standby to protect the T-70. The Verkehrwerfer is getting mighty close, and the Panzer headquarters could be upgraded as well, so he needs to worry about that for another deep incursion. Not enough for a Panzerfaust, so just pull your men back. Purple, on the other hand, it does have enough for some Panzerfaust. And actually, I haven't gone over their commanders. Luftwaffe ground forces, a very good defense. Light defenses, heavier infantry, and nice airborne assault, and then special operations, which could support infantry abilities, and the Panther. Always do a brief synopsis about every commander, because sometimes we forget. Because even though it's like, I think in total there's like, oh god, if I had to put a number like 75 commanders, right? 75 commanders, that's a good number. It's and a lot of these are the more common ones, especially with the OKW, American, and British only having a fewer number than the Bach and Soviet. It's still just as a reminder, like what they specialize in. Anyway, speaking of that battle, remember that T-70 beating the Panzer II? Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. Panzer II is going to have a bit of a rough day. It still can penetrate, but it's just going to be a little bit rougher. T-70, by the way, up to that too. Actually, very lucky. Knocks out its main weapon. Damn. Panzer II now can have free game. Nice shot with the Verkehrwerfer and a good kill. Good support weaponry, by the way. Purple, really good job there. Also, upgrading your Luftwaffe ground force special unit, Fallschirmjäger unit, to have the... Oh, God. Oh, those special weapons are going to just put a dent in the enemy. God damn. Yes, no, definitely. Again, especially if you get in cover, those penal troops will be shredded by the time they come up. Now, luckily we do have a cash down, so that's going to help out the allies a little bit, but they are suffering from lack of fuel. So they will need to, well, yeah, okay, good job. You're grabbing the fuel. Also, you're building something? Is that a mine? You're placing down a mine. I want to say you're placing you're placing a little flare mine. Good. Half-track moving in with also done. So once again, Germans kind of bringing up that heavier infantry. You have Fallschirmjägers, you have SG-44s. And unfortunately, the penals don't really have like a really good anti-infantry component to them, like upgrade like an MG-42 or DPs or something like that a lot of other units can have. They're essentially stuck with PTRS rifles, which make them more effective against armor than infantry. Shock troops, on the other hand, very good close range. Did a video on that with Victor Stewart doing the brunt of the work. Highly recommend you check that out on my channel if you want more details on shock troops. But unfortunately, if a lot of these units stay at range, they're going to shred the shock troops before they're effective. Smoke could always be a factor, but again, something you want to definitely watch out for. Anyway, conscripts taking over the point. T-70 coming on in, but hitting a mine, I believe. No, maybe a Panzerfaust? I think maybe Panzerfaust gotten close. But anyway, some nice shots. Unfortunately, the wood is taking a brunt of that. Shock troops. Oh wait, not shock troops. Penal's trying to put a shot on target. Sorry, that cold is really messing with my head. Just blame all. Just if I say a wrong word, just blame it on NyQuil. That's what I'm just gonna do. Any case, or Dayquil. It's Dayquil right now. Damn it, I'm messing up even my medicine. Anyway, Fallschirmjäger shredding the penals, MG and Sturms coming on in. This thing, nice idea trying to get close. Might be able to do it, but sees Fallschirmjäger's like, nope, I'm not dealing with that. Because while he's trying to throw it, the Fallschirmjägers could easily throw a bundle grenade if he has enough resources, which we can see he does, and blow up the enemy trying to throw that satchel. Because by God, Soviets take a long time to throw. But even though it takes a long time to throw, usually their abilities are pretty damn effective. Specifically, the satchel is extremely effective. Anyway, slow motion still needs to heal this T-70. They're both, by the way, upgrading or at least have gotten the last tier 4 building. So we can expect some better armor out soon. But again, slow motion's the closest one. And even he is going to be building an 85. Don't expect IS-2 out for quite some time because he just doesn't have the fuel. Also, his manpower is pretty low. This Germans easily have an advantage into overall men and map control. Now, the Soviets have done a good job of going for the weak points and trying to even out the playing field. But they need to combat that infantry, and unfortunately with a T-70 down, it's going to be a little bit harder. Now, White Hot T is going to continue to put on pressure. There's that bundle grenade I mentioned earlier. Does quite a bit of damage to the shock troops, pushing them back quite a bit. Penals, though, going off. Hits the unit, doesn't kill it. Very close to, though. Fallschirmjäger's going to come in and try to save the day. Penals going to be less effective against the MG, but it is very low, so the 4 guys with rifles might be able to kill it. It's going to be close. There'll be a Vet 2 unit that's down the drain if he can put the shots on target. Unfortunately, both rifle shots miss, and yeah, it's going to be pretty much bad day for the penals as they were not able to stop that MG. Second MG, though, moving on in. We have flares going off somewhere, I'm assuming on the left-hand side. Yep, there they are. There's the flare. So they know where the enemy is more concentrated in, so I like that. He's like, okay, let me flare to see what I'm going to do. And also we can see your purple trying to come in to help his ally. Really nice to see. Because again, you always want to help out your ally and do what you can. Also, we can see your purple went 2 Fallschirmjäger squads, and Hans has 2 Obsoldan squads. That's roughly what I would keep. I wouldn't get more because then it can start being a burden on manpower. Speaking of which, purple can absolutely get himself a Panther right now. Nice satchel, though, by the way, on the Lukes. And again, did quite a bit of damage. Nice Panzerfaust on the T-70, though we have a Panzer IV on the field. Oh, boy. I didn't even see that being built. That T-70 needs to get the hell out of there. Luckily, AT is going to hold him back. Conscripts do have an AT grenade, so they could pin that Panzer IV and stop it from being more of a nuisance to the retreating armor. Also, they're going to go in close, but luckily, the problem is A, they don't have upgrades, and B, they're versing conscripts with PPSHs. So, yeah, don't exactly know what you're supposed to do there. Anyway, Fallschirmjägers coming on over. They're going to be fighting some... Oh, God, these poor engineers. Get the hell out of there. Unless there's a demo behind that tree, then it'll be perfect. But, yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. So we got shock troops and penals coming in. I guess they're just trying to keep them there to hold the front for the time being. So, yeah. Shock troops coming on in. Let's see. Again, cover is could be better. He might actually lose the unit there if he focuses. He might. Very lucky the shock troops lived. Holy crap. Bundle grenades probably needed to close it, like, to actually win this battle, but they're so close to each other. Well, no, penal troops just being decimated. Fallschirmjäger's not even in cover, and they just ripped apart that penal squad. Damn. And they don't even have, I mean, okay, they're only a vet 2. They have 20 kills. Holy shit, those things are nothing to sneeze at with that upgrade. Yeah, those if they tore apart both the penal and shock troop, though I think the shock troop should have probably moved to a better cover position behind the fence or something, or anywhere rather than being in negative cover on the road. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, oof, not going well. Panzer II as well with good veterancy. Some bulk squads with good veterancy. The allies currently have quite a few units with a decent amount of veterancy, though a lot of them look like to be recruits. Although he looks like he's doubling up on the AT, so at least slow motion's like, hey, I understand what's going on. I'm prepared. I can deal with this. I can deal with the armor. White Hot D's a little more up in the air. He has double shock troops, I'm assuming, to deal with the Fallschirmjägers, but he needs to get close to be effective. Anyway, we got T-70 undergoing repairs. Finally is good. MG, though, once again suppressing We could see some grenades, but shock troops immediately suppressed before he's able to throw that grenade. Unfortunate, but good use of the MG. Now Vet 3 is going to suppress. Remember, the OKW gets up to Vet 5 units, so goddamn, they have to really worry. Panzer headquarters for the Germans are over here. I think maybe slightly back would have been better. That way the enemy can't decap that or break up this hedge wood. So that, I mean, I get it. You want to make sure the enemy doesn't take this, but this one's more imperative because that way it stops the enemy from decapping. Luckily, you do have an MG there. Big push going on by the Soviets. Nice mine. Again, I'm going to say that was a Soviet one. Whatever the case may be, it worked, and the T-70s has some issues. T-34 moving on in, but with the Panzerfaust and as well the Panzer IV hitting that 85, it's not as clear fight as you would have wanted. Besides, that's an upgraded Panzer IV with slightly better armor than the base one. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit harsher for that Panzer IV to fight that T-30-45, but because of the 85mm weapon on this T-34, but that Panzer IV is still, it can still go toe-to-toe. It still can put up a decent fight against this thing. Meanwhile, Fallschirmjäger's going on those penals. Vet 3, 18 kills. That's the best penal squad I can see right now. Hold on. Yeah, the most kills anyway. Satchel being thrown. Oh, he's running through it. Get out of there, man. Fallschirmjägers walk into it, take 2 additional casualties because of that. He'll have to pull back. MG's the only thing there. He'll probably jump in the building. Nope. I'm assuming he thinks, oh, it's all over. And Engineer Squad's like, nope, I'm still here. And with, even though an Engineer Squad is really kind of weak in its overall attack power, especially with the Minesweeper, it's enough to get close to push back the MG, so really good job there. Also, nice airstrike over here. Looks like to push back the Verkehrwerfer artillery as well coming on in, so the Allies will hold on to that precious fuel. And also, the Allies will go and decap this. This is why I'm like, Panzer Headquarters might have been better suited here. That way you could guard this point, and you could guard this point. Just, you know, 2 for 1. As it is, I don't think the Panzer Headquarters will really affect this positioning and defense at all. Fallschirmjägers fighting the Engineer Squad, push that back. Now we have 1 penal group fighting this Fallschirmjäger Squad. Will it win? Right now, this squad is not in cover, but we saw that really didn't matter. Oh, Volk Squad coming on, and yeah, this penal squad is screwed. Meanwhile, we have an IS-2 on the field, so it took a little bit more time, but White Hot D was able to get up. Unfortunately, with that mine there, the IS-2 might blow them all to Kingdom Come. Hold on. Yep, there goes the mine. Volk Squad very low on health. Meanwhile, T-30-45 pushing back the Panzer IV. Rear armor showing, so a clear-cut shot is more likely. Verkehrwerfer is back at base, so they can't really stop it. Panzer Headquarters is probably their best bet. Also, looks like Panzer II took some damage. So good shots across the board. Allies are back in this fight. And again, one thing, slow motion. May not have the most vetted units. I mean, he has a lot of low vetted units by 1 or 2. But, oh, never mind. The T-70 is 3. But he is keeping them alive. And that's really matters because we're seeing 2 T-34s. Now, one's a 76, so it looks like he kind of rushed to have additional armor on the field just in general. But that might work. It just having more numerous units of a lower quality just overwhelm the enemy. Shock troops as well coming on over here. Luckily, it looks like these guys were able to get in close. IS-2 probably providing that support, plus being upgraded with an MG. They should be able to take this area. AT gun moving on in, but they need more than that. But here's the problem. This entire time, it's like, what is Purple doing? Why hasn't he deployed any armor? Or any major armor, I should say. And it's simple. He's saving up for a king. Now, the problem is, all the manpower that it costs to reinforce his units is currently making it so that he probably won't get a king for another minute and a half. Well, in a minute and a half, the Soviets could literally capture a huge portion of territory. Nice smoke, by the way, on the MG. Finally throwing that smoke before you get suppressed. But this case, I think you're going to die from the Fallschirmjäger Squad, so... Oh, wait, no, IS-2 comes in. May have saved the day there. Shock troops barely any health, but the IS-2 saves it and forces back the Fallschirmjäger with upgraded weapons and save. Again, good save right there. Sudan, though, coming on in, 10 kills on the flank of the MG. Panzer IV, though, coming on in with a Command Panther. Oh, no, combine that with a King Tiger, and you got yourself a bad day indeed if you're an allied member. Though it looks like the T-34, 76mm, is trying to fight that Panzer IV. But normally, T-34 is a rough time versus a base Panzer IV. The J version, yeah, you're gonna have an even worse day. Looks like they're trying to concentrate and kill this unit. Nice job with the Verkehrwerfer. Knocks out the AT gun for the Soviets, bringing them down to a total of 1. which is a good thing to have. T-34 opening fire on the Volk Squad command tank coming on in and pushing back the 85mm. Looks like it worked. T-34 got pushed back with its gun. Panzer IV, though decent health. Actually, it looks like they were trying to target the AT gun was so far forward because they're trying to hit the Panzer headquarters. Not a bad idea, but you need to make sure it is supported. It looks like it was not, or at least they couldn't get out of there in time. There's 2 support guns here, so I'm assuming they've just been peppering the enemy lines, which sucks for the Soviets because they don't exactly have a mortar that can hit that range of it unless they get really close. I mean, that he has a disposal. He can deploy a heavy mortar, but unfortunately doesn't really have that. Katyusha would be his next best bet, but luckily, Slow Motion is about to deploy that. Alright, T-34, 76 walked into a fight that he cannot win. Verkenwerfer will probably rip him to shreds if they can connect another shot. Looks like they will because of the Panzerfaust slowing the T-34's retreat ability. A T-gun gets another shot on the Panzer IV, but he's very close getting back 3, which would be horrifying. King Tiger is on the field and looks like, though, Purple is having a rough day in his infantry. A lot of his units are back, just trying to get some heals. It is weird that he made this base just slightly further than his normal base. The enemy could theoretically drop fire on this, so hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him, but maybe that will. Or Katyusha. IS-2, though, putting... oh, God. IS-2, where is that? Oh, it's over here. So while the IS-2's away, penal troops are going to put pressure on the King Tiger. Luckily, King Tiger has enough armor. It can take a satchel charge directly to the face. Yeah, fun fact about that. It can survive. Meanwhile, IS-2 is just getting some repairs. T-70 is up to Vet 3. T-3045 looks like is up to full strength. Soviets are in like the low 70s. Axis are in the mid to low 80s. Again, or low 80s, I should say. It's a close fight. And again, so it looks like the Soviets are taking the brunt of the action. Nice use of the support guns to knock out the support equipment. Also, Volk Squad's coming on the flank, though unfortunately MG was prepared for them and pushing them back. We still have 1 armored unit by Slow Motion, though it looks like he might have some trouble versing 2. S-285 might be his best bet, although he just used the fuel on the Katyusha, so it might be a little bit of time, like a minute or 2. Meanwhile, we do have an S-285 to back up the IS-2. Really good idea, because they can't natively fight a King Tiger. It can't fight a King Tiger just solo. But it looks like in this scenario... wait, double mines? What are you thinking? Because I immediately pulled back. Verkenwerfer's coming on in. Volk Squads are right there for additional Panzerfaust. S-285, oh, it's over here. Okay. It's trying to target the Panzer II, which is... I don't think he's paying attention. Panzer II might die. We have airstrike coming on in to the IS-2. This is... Oh, nice fire ability. MG and Verkenwerfer has been decrewed. So, this is going to be... Oh, wait. Satchel runs through the fire. Does a little bit of damage. Nice shot. Kills the Panzer II. IS-2 finishing it off. Now, unfortunately, you have the King Tiger, and that's a hell of a fight to win, especially with the air support inbound, which is anti-armor strafe against the Soviets. They're already at a disadvantage. I would pull back at least out of the circle, so that way your armored units don't get hit. Now, luckily, the S-285 dodged that by ducking and weaving, even though it's a tank. Like, I just found out tanks could date. I guess they could also duck and weave. Now, the King Tiger is thinking, oh, I'm going to win. He's outside the anti-air range, and now the penals are coming up from behind. This IS-2 can't escape unless he pushes forward, which is forcing him into the fight. Now, the S-285 can still put pressure on him. Satchels are about to be thrown on him for a cheaper price, so he should have the resources to do it. Again, King Tiger needs to keep pushing forward or backing up, and unfortunately, he just backed up into a trap. Satchel's going to go on its rear, definitely hurting him. S-285 not going to take advantage of that opportunity and focus some pressure on the King Tiger. Now, luckily, this King Tiger's not a dumbass. He's going to drop in some smoke to hopefully keep him alive while bringing up a ton of infantry, which should probably one of them grab the Verkenwerfer. S-285 trying to come on around. King Tiger going into a ditch to try to survive. Smoke luckily saved him from being shot. IS-2 and them are very low. If they get the Verkenwerfer back up, which hopefully he does, although he needs to sacrifice Smoke Squad, that will allow him the opportunity for AT to fight this stuff off. But it looks like it was a bit of a draw. I will say the Panzer II did die, and a lot of the infantry on the purple side did die, so I'd have to say it was more of a victory for White Hot D, even though we didn't gain much ground. So, good job to hot D for that little victory. Now, unfortunately, Fallschirmjäger's going to quickly take over this area. Meanwhile, slow motion, how are you doing? You have a T-34-76 again. You are versing... yeah, you're still versing the 3, although he's up to Vet 3 now. Almost Vet 4 with 14 kills. 21 kills, but nothing too spectacular kill-wise. I'm looking for the Soviets to see if there's any high kill counts. There really isn't. White Hot D has 25 for penals. That's about his best. 20 for the IS-2. And Purple has 26 for the Fallschirmjäger squad, though, again, a lot of his support equipment did get knocked out, so he will need to recruit that. Or decommission it. Do one of the two. Just don't leave it there, because if the enemy grabs it, you're essentially giving the enemy free stuff, which, again, not great. Fallschirmjäger's taking over that point. We got shock troops coming on in. That's their best chance to deal with that infantry. Vet 4, by the way, so he's going to definitely be shredding. Shock troops, though, overwhelming him, getting up close using 2 squads. Both squads should have probably came together, but not in a group, so that bundle grenade doesn't hit both. One squad will need to fall back. Second Fallschirmjäger squad still in the front with an MG, which got smoked, by the way. Shock troops getting on in there, fighting the Fallschirmjägers head on. It's a close fight. Fallschirmjägers are giving it their all, but it looks like they're being overwhelmed. But just by a miracle, shock troops will retreat first, Fallschirmjägers will retreat second. Bit of a stalemate, but still not too bad of a fight. Meanwhile, looks like the Command Panther fell back in mid. I don't know what the hell's going on with that Panzer IV, but it needs some help. And what do I mean by that? Well, it needs its engine repaired. I don't know what keeps happening to it, but damn, just give it some extra casings or something. Anyway, it looks like we have a bit of a flank coming on. Remember, the radio silence is making sure he's invisible to the enemy. So that's good. Ah, yes, they move faster. Good, good, good. So they can't see him in the mini-map, so they can't see him come around if he had something to detect him. Now, unfortunately, he didn't really have anything to deal with the armor. If he was coming back with the Command Panther and Minesweepers, I could see something. Nice strafe, though, by the Soviets will keep the infantry back. And now they're going to retreat. That T-70 is going to have a field day because he can take pop shots at their retreat path and hopefully kill some of them. Meanwhile, we have another battle between the King and the IS-2. Though the only support I see for either side is this one penal squad, which will help because, again, it has the satchel. So, as long as they can keep the King Tiger at distance, the IS-2 will be in a better position, because now the Su-85 can come in and help support. Verkenwiffer, though, has been recruited and could easily start doing some excellent shots on the Su-85 and possibly knock it out. Meanwhile, T-34 gets knocked out. Panzer IV, Command Panther, still doing very well. Support equipment support guns coming down on the MG. It looks like AT gun got knocked out. T-30-45 needs to fight, and unfortunately that T-34 is a little bit farther back. They need to bring it up to assist. AT Grenade's gonna once again, that poor unit can't get its engine stabilized to save its life. But this Panzer, oh my god, Panzer Headquarters building is somehow just barely alive. Again, I'm assuming the forward-facing AT gun is what's been pulverizing it. They need something. I don't know if it's a Stuka or what, but he needs some equipment in order to stop it. Stuka would be a good alternative. Something like that to really make sure that they can just keep hammering this stuff. Although it looks like the armor is going to put the final nail in that Panzer Headquarters coffin. Meanwhile, King Tiger advancing against double Su-85. That's a big risk. IS-2, though, looks like took up broadly action from that King Tiger. Su-85s will pull back as the engineer squad's coming in for repairs. That King Tiger, by the way, is up to Vet 2 and does have its spearhead ability online. What is that? As you can see here, the turret can only move 90 degrees, but can track targets more quickly, and sight range is increased, so it's more forward-facing, which is pretty damn good. VP points, I've really talked about this because, again, they've been rather close the entire game. I mean, yeah, sure, like, you'll have maybe one side to catch up, but it's never, like, for too long. And it's funny because you figure the Germans have better map control, but the Allies are actually going for a lot more cutoffs and a lot more stuff like that. So they're doing a really good job right now just denying the enemy, which should be a clear-cut win. Unfortunately, though, Verkenwiffer gets a nice shot. Because people are like, oh, they have the abundance of resources, game over. But no, slow motion YD did some really good hits and maneuvers to make sure the enemy didn't get those resources, even though they didn't take them. Forces coming on in, but again, another push behind enemy lines. We're seeing a Sturmvik strike come on in, I'm assuming from the side, so we're going to see him hit this infantry, which is up. It will do really nothing. Fallschirmjägers just had to sit there. It looks like, though, the MG got decrewed, which is going to suck. again, King Tiger being rather protected by some infantry. Those shock troops taking over here. Looks like fire got called down, which forced some units back. King Tiger, though, could go in. Canwiffer is guarding. Su-85 is probably going to die if he doesn't get outside that sight range. One last shot. Nope, outside the sight range. He'll not be able to hit it. King Tiger with his MG should rip this shock troop apart. Unfortunately, main gun kind of gets blocked by a piece of wood. Meanwhile, we got multiple T-34s on the field. Looks like the Katusha died somehow. I'm not entirely sure how. Maybe a flank from the infantry did it, which would have been very cool. Panzer IV, Vet 4, by the way. Again, nothing to sneeze at. Almost Vet 5. And the Command Panther's, again, boosting it. Well, slightly, but, you know, it's helping. It's helping a little bit. Now, they're really trying to kill this stuff. Luckily, the armor's just going in there. Panzerfaust would be very helpful, or support from the ally, which looks like the Command Panther is still alive, by the way. Vet 5, Panzer 4. One unit did croak. This unit is currently pinned. This other unit could easily be pinned by another Panzerfaust. Just shooting at it works. Unfortunately, Panzer IV kills the command tank, even though they could have recruited. And there goes another T-34. Now, 3 T-34s, and essentially, you only got one Command Panther. Now, on the flip side, if the Su-85 would have came in and finished some other stuff off, that would have been a huge victory, but it's not. If anything, like we're looking at here, Hans got a Stuka, like I said. Deal with that support equipment. But he's not too far off from getting armor. He's probably like good 4 minutes. But if he can grab that fuel back, because again, he's been doing a very good job of being very proactive, he could definitely push him back. Slow Motion has no armor, so he has to rely fully on infantry, which is only 2 units. Is one conscript and his AT gun to hold back the Panzer IV. That's why I'm like, it's not that huge of a loss, because the person he's mainly fighting against doesn't have the component right now. Now, look, Slow Motion is can easily and very quickly get armor in the next minute if he wants to, and it would be a very good piece of armor because it would be the 85mm. But still, even with that, it's aversing a Vet 5 Panzer IV. That's not exactly something, it's like a clear-cut victory. But it's also going to rely on Purple, because Purple has a Panther, but also a lot of the Soviet armor by White Hot D has not died. That's the scary part. Is he is... Oh, wait. Where about... I say that, and literally there it goes. So there, I jinxed it for you, White Hot D. You're welcome. He shoots Stone KB-8. Oh, God. But yeah, a lot of... He really needs to focus on it. Anyway, oh, here we go. Again, the Vet 5 Panzer IV going balls deep against the IS-2. Hot damn. This thing is punching above its class and doing decently well. Panther, though, taking a brunt of that Su-85 fire. King Tiger, though, coming on in. Unfortunately, no shot is connecting right now to hit those tank destroyers. Canwiffer needs to move on up. It's sitting on its ass in the back. Panther, fortunately, goes down. Panzer IV also sitting on its ass in the back. Unsure what is going on. I am befuddled right now. Again, all this support not coming in. King Tiger, luckily, bouncing a couple rounds, especially the Su-85s. And IS-2 is giving chase for Canwiffers, though, coming on the flank. Panzer IV trying to put some shots for Canwiffer, turning around, not sure what's going on. Su-85 could get one last shot. They could kill it. King Tiger pulling on back. What is happening? Allies are in full advance. Axis in full retreat. Dodged by the King Tiger, using a blitz, but Su-85 coming in from the side. Fire being dropped. Nice shot by this Su-85, which should have died by now. I am lost for words. Airstrike coming in by the Soviets, push back that infantry. And yeah, it's one of those situations where on paper, it's like the French army. On paper, they should have beat the Germans. On paper, the Germans should have easily trounced White Hot D's forces. They had a Vet 5 Panzer IV, a good vetted King, at least a Panther, versus what? 2 Su-85s and an IS-2, plus 2 Verkanwerfers just sitting there not doing anything. I am stunned by that attack and incompetence by the Germans, but it wasn't all in vain. We can see here that, unfortunately, in the middle of that mix, White Hot D did lose a number of his forces. A lot of his vetted units have died, but he still has a number of very good units, and great shot on that retreating Volk squad. Meanwhile, the Axis are down. Oh wait, no, Panzer IV lived. The Panzer IV. Oh, I thought it died. Oh, thank God, it lived. This is by far. This is the last hope of the Germans. This is their last hope. This Vet 5 Panzer IV. Like, if this doesn't do it, I honestly have no idea what will. Anyway, we need to get back over. Nice shot, by the way. Kills the S-285 with that artillery strike. So really good job there. They didn't kill the engineers, though, so that's good. But they did knock down S-285. He's getting another one. But it's going to be a little bit before the next one come in. So really good use of the flares, I assume. He dropped flares and good use of the Stuka. So, awesome. Anyway, they still have the Panzer IV. I'm not saying get by an IS-2, but, it can definitely do a lot of damage. It can definitely do a lot of damage versus those S-285s. And again, it is incredibly deadly against the infantry. Unfortunately, slow motion is getting a bit more in terms of fighting. So, unfortunately, I do not think the fact Hans will be able to hold this territory unless he deploys something very, very quickly. Unfortunately, the problem for him is he forgets he needs a Panzer headquarters. He needs a Panzer headquarters in order to deploy a Panther. Now, I'm assuming maybe a King Tiger would be in the works. Maybe. But I would figure he would want to get Panzer headquarters for more options. Stern Pioneer, very low on health. Shock Troop still fighting, though, again, with those Folk Squads coming on in. Nothing to sneeze at. MG as well, very low on health. Gonna need to do something in order to, well, get rid of a lot of this vetted infantry. A lot of Vet 5 units here. We look at Purple, he has 31, 32, 21, and, well, 7. But they're all Vet 4, Vet 5, respectively. We have another attempt in mid. Looks like the Germans have put a bit of pressure on the Allies. Under 100 points. But again, very close across the board. Smoke going down. Very good use of the Obelsadon smoke. It is more, you know, like it's more poison than, you know, kind of like a white phosphorus variant than normal smoke. But hey, it works. It works. It works. T-34, 85 is on the field. Looks like we have a 76 on the or coming onto the field. So again, I don't know why slow motion keeps using that combo. Maybe it's for a ram ability or like a sacrificial T-34 and then one that's more harder hitting. That's fine. That can definitely work. I just seen a lot of his armor die though, so I'm curious if he wants to continue with that strategy. If something doesn't work, it's nonsense to keep repeating it. I know Voss, which by the way, fantastic actor. If you've not seen him and other stuff, like I'm super, like a lot of people are like, oh man, like Spider-Man, it's gonna be in Sony's hands. I'm like, if that means goddamn Scorpion can be back with the actor who plays Voss, I am all for it. Because every time he shows up, like an Orphan Black and everything else, I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be good. This is going to be a good, because he is a very good performer. But his quotable line, insanity, maybe not the actual, like, that terminology, like, that person, like, that line is definitely, like, iconic. So really good job by that. Nice strike. Nice iconic. Doesn't really define insanity perfectly, but it's a great quote. But yeah, you definitely want to change up your strategy because you just don't want to lose. You definitely don't want to do the same thing over and just lose all your men. Anyway, Panzer IV does a good job holding back some of the Soviet infantry, and on the other units by Hans is doing a good job here. Also, Hans has a ton of resources. Let's not denounce the Germans just yet. They still have a ton of resources. Battalion River's opening fire. One is stuck behind a goddamn tree. He can direct fire if he wants to, but he's not doing that. Panzer IV could go up to fire. Maybe actually do a flanking maneuver from behind. Su-85s are over here. So a flanking maneuver here would be slightly outside their range instead of just looking straight down the barrel of a Vet 3 IS-2 with 43 kills. Yeah, maybe stay away from that. Oh, nice explosive round. Unfortunately for Kenworth, still alive. Finally chooses direct fire. King Tiger's on the field like I thought he would deploy. Again, no. Oh, good Panzer headquarters building going down. That was needed a little while ago. Anyway, good job by slow motion. He's grabbing some territory on the left. Big armor push in mid though. For Kenworthers are needed, or AT in general. We have one back at base. King Tiger and Panzer IV is being healed. King Tiger is moving to the front. Stuka is unfortunately not in a firing position, so he can't like hit these Su-85s. Because fun fact, they will do quite a bit of damage. IS-2 though, unfortunately unable to fire that frag bomb for a little while, but he could do quite a bit right there. Allies are still down. They need to capture mid. T-34 doesn't have veterancy, so we can't use that. King Tiger's moving on in. This may be where Purple sees in his head the idea of, well, okay, we need to hold the territory. Let me move my men up. What he should probably do, and I know this might be a little bit of a risk, because adding smoke to the table, but drop smoke here, and that way you keep your units on the point. and the enemy would have to direct fire. Now, unfortunately, you have this scenario, but it looks like he's prepped and ready with his most elite Fallschirmjäger unit just waiting for them. And by God, that sneak attack is going to work. Unfortunately, shock troops are going to counter by a grenade. Oh, a lot of damage. He's going to need to retreat. Shock troops are going to try to get him on said retreat. And will he get the kill? Oh, man, that backfired so hard on that Fallschirmjäger squad if he loses it. Oh, he does. That hurts. That hurts. That truly, truly does hurt. Anyway, 18 points remaining for the Allies. 120 for the Germans. So they have plenty of time. Fortunately, they lost a lot of the support equipment. I would not advance with this. They do have airstrikes going on. And they are technically in the circle. So if the King Tiger does move in, the planes will come in for a strike, which they are doing. Oh, man, they killed the infantry, too. So, yeah, now we're seeing IS-2 just go head-on against the IS-2. Sorry, the King Tiger head-on against the IS-2. Very low health. King Tiger needs one last shot. Decrews it, doesn't kill it, so he could always reman it. King Tiger might go in for the kill. Not worth it. Pull back. Su-85, I suspect the T-34 might ram him. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing the Panzer IV anywhere. I'm not seeing a T or anything. Does get the kill, but unfortunately, man, you cannot get a new King Tiger anytime soon. So you killing the IS-2 is not worth it. He can get a new one, not incredibly soon, but if he saved up within like a few minutes. It's going to be a lot longer before you deploy any armor. For Canwefers, though, firing on the front, looks like Hans is trying to make up for the lack of damage in the last few seconds with the King Tiger and try to provide enough support there. Not going to work, though. Command Tank, though, moving on in with the Panzer IV. So finally goes in. Again, this is where you might want to waited a little bit for that support or fallen back as soon as you decrewed the unit. And maybe drop smoke. Smoke would have really helped you out, man. Make the King Tiger survive. So unsure there. Troops are trying to hold on to that point, and again, they decapped the one on the left. Conscripts took it over. The one in the middle is being taken over by very low health Sudan, so they have to worry about that. T-34s, though, equally low health. Looks like the Axis are taking full advantage and doing a nice little push. Meanwhile, Su-85s are still there. Gets one good kill, but they need to then focus their efforts on the Su-85. Unfortunately, a bounce from the Panzer IV, which sucks. I believe it was Panzer IV. But Canwell for those moving on in, but the MG's going to put some pressure on it, pull it back. Let's see. Units over here might be dropped in. They are. Fallschirmjägers going in for the point. Shock troops taking over that. Again, I have to say Fallschirmjägers probably won't win that battle. Yep, okay, he just realized shock troops going on in. He needs to get lucky with his grenades, but he has plenty of resources to get lucky. Almost Sedan need to watch that point. Smoke would be good for him to get close and hold on to said point. I don't know why I retreated that unit, but airstrikes are coming on in. More anti-armor. Anti-infantry first, then anti-armor. Fighting going on the right. Unfortunately, not really having that much of effect. Needs to deploy more units over there. Recon is going down, so that will allow the planes to target this stuff. The Soviets, weirdly enough, don't have anti-air. I haven't really mentioned that, but that would help shoot down these planes so they don't hurt the armor. Because as you can see, they do quite a bit. Unfortunately, though, it looks like Purple just ran out of steam. He still has a couple elite units left. But weirdly enough, he's not decommissioning some of these wrecks and units scattered for additional fuel. Could help. But right now, he is going in for an attempt to push left. And oh, good. Stuka did a little bit to the MG. But now it's up to Hans to take mid. Now, Hans is doing well with his resources. He's doing incredibly well. He needs to get that Panther back up because he doesn't have that much time. But luckily, Purple is going to hold on to that region, and he did deploy most of his elite forces. Problem is, White Hot D has some of his own elite forces with his shock troops, 23 kills. Again, nothing compares to the, nearly 40 kills of the one squad, but still, he's trying to help. Good grenade, push back the Sturm squad, and again, it looks like the shock troops have torn him apart. It looks like shock troops will win this battle between the Fallschirmjägers. But it was a close one. I'll give him that. It was very, very close. But, yeah, unfortunately, some ambush attempts with, unfortunately, less units didn't help. And it looks like the Germans will be unable to win this. There is a drop coming in, but, yeah, he has conscripts right there to hold. Slow motion's not an idiot, though. Does hit a mine, which is hilarious. Trying to rush on in for the decap, not going to be enough. They both went for 1 point, but they need to capture 2, so need a better communication right there. But VP points are over because the Germans have hit 0. And although the Allies had 18 left, so it was very close. I think dropping smoke in mid might have helped you survive a little bit longer. Keep your units on the point, then you just keep rotating them. Unfortunately, over here, you just need more men, mines, I don't know, maybe some armor support. I know you kept trying to go for those kings, but I don't think they were worth it. Your Fallschmingers did quite well. Like, if we look at overall damage... by the way, thank you, White Hot D, for submitting this replay. And again, you got a ton of kills and a ton of damage. You definitely made up for it. In the beginning, I was worried because I'm like, oh, Jesus, you're losing a lot. But you showed, again, the battle against the Fallschminger, shock troops can do some damage, even against Vet 5 units. Anyway, let's look at here. 59,000 damage and most kills. Good job there. Though, very close most losses, but Slow Motion got that. But, Slow Motion, even though he took a lot more losses with his armor, did very well with his infantry. I would say he always had a good infantry force on the field. Even when he lost all of his armor, he still fell back, and I never saw him, like, completely out of it, like Purple. Or even a little bit closer to you. Like, when he lost his forces, it was bad, but he had enough mines and defenses that he was able to regroup and reman himself pretty quickly. White Hot D, when you lost a bit, you were a little bit worse, and I'd say Purple's a little bit worse, but Slow Motion still did very well for himself, even though he got less damage. I think the big issue with him was his T-34. It's just not up to snuff. I feel like your S-285s, White Hot D, were quite a bit better. We look at damage on Purple. Purple got way more, but he definitely took more losses. Hans was a lot, Purple was a lot riskier, but he lost more. Meanwhile, Hans was a lot more collective. He was more just laid back a little bit. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Because again, Purple risked going Fallschmingers, and for focusing on that, he risked the King Tiger. He risked quite a bit, and Slow Motion, like, I don't know his playstyle. I guess he was a little riskier because he did push up a little bit and lost quite a bit of his equipment right over here, trying to kill that Panzer headquarters. But the one thing I'll say about him is, while Purple did have a lot of veteran units, Hans, for the most part, he would only act when he knew he could do well, and I think that's greatly, like, pushed by this Panzer IV. That Panzer IV, like, he got hit by a mine, he didn't advance with it. He pulled back. And I feel like that's a big thing with this guy. It was like, every time he would try to push, he would only push when he knew he would do well. He would usually push with Panzer IV, a Panther, Verkenwerfer, stuff like that. I do think some of the reaction times could have been better. I think some of the movement with Verkenwerfer, especially behind the cover, could have been more or better used with direct fire. But let's see. Let's see how everyone did in terms of their the best unit. And again, that makes sense. Overall, we saw here that a Slow Motion makes sense as a T-gun was #1 because, again, he didn't have, like, an all-star unit. His armor died and whatnot. S-285s did a little over 23,000 damage. IS-2 took a lot of damage as well. Really good job there. Penal's got a lot of kills. I'm expecting Fallschmingers. No, King Tiger. I'm really surprised by that. Almost 15k, 16 kills. I'm surprised Fallschmingers didn't get it because they did so much damage. He got so many kills, but... Okay, and Hans, what was yours? Hans got his Panzer IV. Have to give it to the Panzer IV. That thing was easily my favorite unit of the game. Shock troops were probably a second, and Fallschmingers were a third. Actually, Fallschmingers were probably a second, gonna be honest. They did extremely well in their environments, winning a lot of fights when they were outnumbered, so really good job in placement and, you know, how you're using them, though I think you got overconfident with them a little bit. But still, really good plays across the board with all these players. What did you think? Leave it down below, and I will check it out. Any case, this has been Greyshot17, reminding you to submit your replays, and I'll see all of you next time. Hello everyone, this is Greyshot. Before you go, I want to give a special shout out to my patrons, these awesome people that include Jakub, Ace, Ion, Just Thomas Plays, Ollie, Pyroshark, Joey G240, and Milam. Thank you all so much for your incredible support. You guys are amazing. Same thing with my patrons down below. You guys support the channel so much, and I wouldn't be here without you. This has been Greyshot17 and his amazing patrons, and I'll see you all next time.